Alright guys, I started the recording for everyone. So this is your first review session for exam 1. I'm guessing that thing's going to stay at the top, so it may be a little bit hard to see some of the stuff at the top, but for the most part it'll just be like the titles up there. I'm Heather Sweat, I'm the TA for you guys, so I grade your papers. We had this conversation before you guys come in, so I grade the papers for you guys, and then I respond to your emails. Jennifer has office hours as well as me, so you can come see either one of us if you have a question about anything that's going on in class or whatever. Just come in and see us. I'm here mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm available some other time, so maybe if you email me, I'm in the office, I'll reply right back like, yeah, you can come see me, because I do have students stop in during times that aren't office hours, and that's fine with me too, as long as I'm not working on something critical, because I'm also a PhD student in the PFP program, so I do have my busy times, but for the most part, anytime you guys need me, I'm there. Just let me know. And if you want to schedule something in advance, that'd be great. Because if you message me in the morning, I might not be there, but then in the afternoon I could come in. So just so you guys know. All right. So this is just wanted to let you know this is not an all-inclusive exam review. So you guys will need to go back and review on your own as well. We will have some questions in here, some sample questions, actually questions from previous quizzes that you guys had that maybe you guys missed, or maybe we thought that maybe it needed a second look just so you guys remember the concept. So this is exams covering units 1, 2, and 3. So that was the first unit, was the getting to know yourself, and that was where you did the money history paper, and then you also learned your learning style, as well as you created the genogram. Okay, the exam, here's a structure. You'll have 90 minutes, 50 questions, 150 points possible. So that means each question is worth 3 points. They're all multiple choice or true or false, just like your quizzes that you guys have had so far. And then the exam itself will open and close on July 6th. So you guys have all day to log in, but once you log in, your time starts ticking down. So once you log in, you'll need at least a 90-minute time frame to sit there and uninterrupted and do the exam. All right, so here's the study tips, what I was just saying a second ago. It'll be over units 1, 2, and 3. So the things that we suggest is to go back and look over your assigned chapters to read, as well as the articles and your project resources. Of course, you probably don't have time between now and then to go back and read everything, but at least skim the chapters so you know where everything's at. If you want to, you can write it down. That way you can go back and reference it in the future. Or make notes or sticky tabs in your books if you have the actual book, or whatever the case may be. And then the assigned articles, there was a few of them that you guys have had so far, so you want to go back and look at those. And the resources are things like the money personality assessment, the learning style, inventory, I think it's called. Okay. And then also go back and review your participation questions and then your project. So your project, it kind of has generic feedback, but if you go back and look at the rubric, you'll see exactly where you missed points. So for example, some of you guys for the ratios, you missed 2 points. That means that two of those weren't right. So that's where that's going to be. But each thing will be sectioned off. So I grade you like guys like that, so it's easier for you to know exactly where you're missing the points at. So maybe it says to use references from the book, but you gave me a good explanation, but you didn't use a reference from the book. So maybe I gave you 4 points instead of 5, or 3 instead of 5, depending on how much it was. Does that make sense? All right, and then also go back and review the discussion board. Sometimes your classmates ask questions, or yourself ask a question, and you can go back and reference that, because it will be answered by either myself or Jennifer, the instructor, Miss Wilson. So that'll be helpful to you guys as well. Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Can we review the quizzes?
I don't think you can actually review the quizzes. I know it says I'm going to review the quizzes, but I don't think they're open up to you guys. After they close, I think that's it. But some of the participation questions sometimes are very similar to what's on the quiz itself, so that should be helpful, just reviewing the participation questions.
But isn't it supposed to show what the answer was? Because it just show if you miss, you just missed, but you can see the answer.
So you're saying on the participation questions, it doesn't show the answer?
Like the quizzes, yeah, it doesn't show the answers. You just get it wrong and You just go like that, or you get it right. But
So if you, go back or you can't see it still?
can see nothing.
Okay. But it does show the answers?
No answers. You
The
only
answer choices?
you can see only the
Oh, I see what you're saying.
answers.
So at least at that point, like a good rule of thumb, like I went to law school, guys, so when you go through an answer choice, A, B, C, D, go through and start marking off choices that you know are wrong. So you're going to go through those, just go through the same thing, just like a quick review, just to read the question again, look at your answer choices, and go through and, like,
There are no answers
I know
coming back.
this is not the right answer, right? You're going to know that. So you're going to have to try to kind of do a review on yourself, on your own again, since there's no way for me to get you guys the answers for each of those, because the quizzes the participation questions or quizzes sometimes have like a pool. So you guys, like, you might take one quiz, she might take another, or you might have 3 of the same questions as her, but all the other 7 are different ones. There's not really any way for me to just go back and say question number 1 was A. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. So I would just go back and look at the answer choices, because now that you have more information, right, it should be easier to answer those questions, hopefully. So that at least should be helpful. All right, so Unit 1, we wanted to make sure you could understand and discuss your strengths and personal goals, as well as articulate how your values and experiences influence your interaction with money. So this is the section where we discussed your money personalities. You guys created the genograms. We talked about the financial counselor's beliefs, attitudes, and values. We went over some of the money scripts. There's a few of the examples right there. And also talked about your relationship with money. And you guys, your relationship with money and your money personality, they all tend to stem from your past. That's the reason that we make you guys do the genogram. Some people have seen them before, some people haven't. So some people have asked me before, why do we have to do those? So that's just a reason that you guys do that. It is really helpful to see what's going on in your family history and why you feel the way you might feel today about money. All right, so the 4 money personalities were pleasure, entrepreneur, recognition, and security. Oh, just so you know, I'm sending these slides out afterwards, so you don't have to write everything down. If there's something else you want to write, that's fine. But I will send out the slides to you guys probably in about 30 minutes after the session ends. But I'll upload them onto the online classroom, just like I did the exam notification. So here, if you guys remember, these are 2-dimensional, right? So your 2 dimensions are whether you're risk tolerance or your risk averseness or risk aversion, as well as if you're present oriented or future oriented. Do you guys remember any of the characteristics that would let you know that somebody's a pleasure money personality? Anything at all about the pleasure money personality? Nothing. Nothing's coming to mind. So these are people that might become gamblers, right? So they have a desire. It gives them pleasure whenever they're making money, but also with making money comes the risk of losing money. So they are thinking about what's going on in the present time and not the future. And so they're taking a lot of risks in that moment. All right, does anybody remember anything about the entrepreneur?
Yeah, they become swindlers.
Yeah, they can become swindlers like Bernie Madoff. Perfect example for the entrepreneur. So they're analytical and cautious in their. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Lord, losing my mind. So it says that they're the true creators of wealth. So a lot of people go into business on their own so that they can make as much money as they want to. They don't have to answer to anybody else. So these people typically do make wealth. But you just have to be careful to not let it become greed and cause you to do things that aren't necessarily legal for that money that you're trying to earn. Does anybody remember recognition?
Composers.
Yes, posers. Anybody? Was it one of our clients? Was one of our clients this money personality?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these like the keeping up with the Joneses.
Both of them, right?
People.
Both of them are.
Both of them are. Yeah. These are the keeping up with the Joneses people. So they go out and buy a Lexus and they could have just bought a Toyota just because they want other people to think that they have wealth. They want other people to see that they have nice things, nice cars, nice house, and things like that. So that could they're posers. So their challenge is learning how to buy something at a reasonable price whenever they want to. Their gut instinct is to buy the name brand every time. And last but not least, security.
Right.
So these guys are the most risk averse, which basically do you guys know what risk aversion means?
Go away.
Yeah. So if you're given an option that each option that you're given is projected to have about the same future earnings, you'll select the one with the lower risk tolerance or the lower risk level because you don't really seek risk. You want the safety. You want to be secure. So do you remember what these guys might become?
Hoarders.
Yeah, hoarders. I was going to say there's a show about it. Not so, that's hoarding in a different way, but yeah. So these guys are hoarders, so they tend to avoid risk, and they put emphasis on the future. So those are the 4 money personalities. I know you guys went through and figured out what yours was. Does anybody remember what theirs was?
Security and recognition.
Security. Anybody else have anything different? And it's okay if you do because none of us are perfect. We're all human. No. You can't remember what yours is? That's okay. All right. So the genograms. These are the three-dimensional drawings that you guys did for your relationships, for people in your family tree, basically, and they let you know about the use, acquisition, and management of your money. So here's the sample from the article that you guys had to read regarding these. So as you remember, the square was a guy, circle was a girl, and then you put the year the person was born next to it at a minimum, and then kind of talk about the relationship in there. And you can create these. You can have your own system. You can have your own way that you create them, whether you have like a broken relationship, if you want to put an X between them, or you want to put a zigzag line, or whatever you want to do. Like, it's up to you, as long as you know what it means. So this is your way of going back and seeing how your family history may affect the way you look at money now. All right, so the financial counseling topics that were discussed in this chapter, we have one chapter from the financial counseling book. That was chapter 8. So the main focus for that chapter would be the values, beliefs, and attitudes of the financial counselor when dealing with the financial counseling process. Okay, let me go back. So as far as the values, do you guys know what are the values that a financial counselor might have, or how do those come about?
Values of financial.
Anything come to mind? Let me see if I can check in online to see if anybody said anything real quick. So for the online folks that are in via Skype, so we have Brady who says that parents, people of influence within the community. So basically your values are what you develop over time. So it's the things that you value, whether you value honesty or trust or things of that extent, whatever you come up learning from a young age, and you just keep that same value over your lifetime.
So those are personal values?
Yeah, those are the personal values of the financial counselor.
Okay.
So it says right here, they determine what is seen, they give meaning for observations, and provide behavioral boundaries. So they're a direct result of the person's environmental influence or interaction with their environment. So based on the values, that's the way that this person's going to look at the situation. Does that make sense? So what you value, you might look at the situation. Like someone could come in here and tell us the same story, and I might look at it totally different because I value different things than you value. We both grew up in different environments, for example. And then also, so your next year will be your beliefs. So the beliefs are determinant for how financial counselors interact with clients. So it's whether they see them as friendly or unfriendly, unable or able, worthy or unworthy. So if they see somebody as able, then they're going to talk to them different than somebody that they think is unable. Not necessarily making that a bad thing, but it's like, if I'm explaining something to you guys, I would expect you to have a better understanding than, say, someone who went to school through the 5th grade. So I would probably talk to them a little bit different, use different verbiage with them. Does that make sense? So you kind of have to kind of get to know your client and interact with them based on what you see, what you believe. And then the attitudes, they're based on a firmly established belief system. So your belief system determines what your attitudes are going to be. So the book does mention that there are 4 main attitudes. I don't know if you guys recall this or not. But basically, the attitudes that the counselor goes into the meeting with will determine the course of that meeting, whether things go well or things don't go well. So that's why, as a financial counselor, it's important to, try to always have a positive attitude. All right, so one second. Get you guys back on here. All right, so here's the first question. I'm going to read it out loud so you guys can see it. Which of the following statements is correct? Financial counselors have certain beliefs which can be broken into 2 categories, information and personality. That was answer choice A. And then B is explicit promises or promises made by the financial counselor. C, a financial counselor may be influenced by 2 sets of values, their own values and the values from the financial institution. Or D, a financial counselor should let only the values of the financial institution they work for impact their client. Do you guys have a guess of what's the right answer, or maybe one that you know is wrong?
C or something.
I believe C is the right answer, but I like D. I feel like it's wrong.
Feel D is wrong. All right, so C is the correct answer here. But just so I'm going back here. So the first one, which says financial counselors have certain beliefs, which we broke into 2 categories, that's incorrect. Those are actually the values. So those are values, and that's in the book. I have the information here in the slide for you guys, just so you know, so you can go back and reference that. And then number 2 is incorrect because the explicit promises and implicit promises are made by the financial institution that the counselor works for, and not by the counselor themselves. Okay, and then D is incorrect. Again, this goes back to the 2 sets is listed in A. So the 2 powerful sets are the person's own values and the industry or financial institution values. So there will be times when your values won't align with the company. At that point in time, you'll probably have to put your own personal values into play versus what the company says as far as their values are. Because there's going to be times when that's going to happen. There's going to be a conflict there. Does that make sense? So that's why D is wrong.
And you said you put the company's values into play?
You would put your own values. Like if you would feel like think about it, if the company's asking you to do something with a client and you didn't feel that it was ethical or whatever, then your own values would come into play at that point. Because then if not, then you're just kind of going toward the money and not having the best interest of your client at heart.
Right. Okay.
All right, so this question right here. Sorry. All right, so this is on the true false. So a client motivation will show if they value present well-being or future well-being more. Do you guys think that's true or false?
So I think I answered true,
On this one?
Right, but it might be false.
Do y'all guys all remember saying true, or you don't remember? Let's see, hold on one second. True. So Brady says it's true with a question mark. So he's also unsure.
I mean, so the money motivators, that's not the same as the money personality, is it?
The money motivation, that was part of this. This is actually part of that slide that you guys had, or the slideshow where you found out what your money personality was. So it is part of it. But the answer is false. So your motivations are the internal characteristics that influence your money behavior, as well as your time orientation, present versus future. So it's not about well-being; it's about your behavior that influences your choices, the characteristics that you have within you. Does that make sense? And this is actually just a snip from the slideshow. You guys can go back and look over this again if you want to get a better understanding of what's going on. And obviously, if you missed it, that is something that you want to go back and look at. That way, if a similar question popped up on the exam, you'd know that one right away. You can save yourself some time, right? All right, so the next one's multiple choice again. These are the money scripts. You guys remember these from the Facilitating Financial Health book? It was a PDF. So this one is, which one of the following is a common money script? I deserve money. Money is unimportant. Money is happiness. Money is the root of all evil.
It is a
B.
Oh, shit, yeah. It is. But just so you guys know, just go back and look at chapter 6. And I actually... sorry, there was a section in here. Can't find it at the moment. Maybe it's a different thing. But I think there was a section where maybe some of my notes upstairs, I put it into one of these slides where it has like all of the different money scripts listed, just as a reference for you guys. But if you go back and look at that chapter, you'll find them as well. There was some major ones listed. They're all bolded, so they're really easy to find. So these were actually... Number one is incorrect because it's I don't deserve money, is the money script. Money is happiness is incorrect because money is evil. And, money is the root of all evil is incorrect because it's actually money is evil. So these money scripts, if you guys remember, these are things that throughout your childhood as well, like you develop these money scripts for life. Like there's one that, people who inherit money, if you inherit money, it's bad, right? A lot of people see the way that people that live off inheritance live, they automatically assume that that's a bad thing. But you really only hear about the people that do the bad things, right? You don't hear about the people that inherit money to do good things with it. Because that doesn't sell in the media, right? So those are some things that people grow up thinking. Alright, so let's move on. Do you guys have any questions for Unit 1 at all?
But Unit 3, and I know we're going to get to it, but that was a lot of reading.
Yes, Unit 3 has a lot of reading.
A lot of reading.
And that one's a little bit more confusing for you guys. I know it kind of gets a little bit more difficult at that point in time. The first couple of units are, like any class, the first few things that you do are a little bit more, a little bit easier, then it gets a little bit more difficult as you go along. So anytime you guys, if you have any questions at all, like, don't be afraid to just post in the discussion board, because the same question that you're thinking, somebody else might have it, but they just don't want to answer it or ask it. So then if neither of you guys answer it or ask it, then you don't have the answer to it, right? So anytime you have a question, answer it there. And anytime you see, like if you see one of your classmates that asks a question on the discussion board and you know the answer to it, like feel free to answer it. And if you're on the right track, then we'll come back like, hey, good job, you did good. Or, yeah, you're along the right path, but it's a little bit more like this. So whatever you guys do, it's just like a regular classroom setting, or we would like it to be like that, if that makes sense. All right, so unit 2, oh shoot, my bad. This is back in here. So unit 2, I just did that. So this is where we did the financial statements. You guys created the budget and went over the cash flow and balance sheet. Cash flow statement and balance sheet, sorry. And also explain various strategies that can be helpful in maintaining your budget. So I don't know if you guys recall any of this stuff, but you had to look over the budget for the Martins and see whether they had a surplus or a deficit or what their net worth was, and create some financial ratios to tell them how they were doing. All right, so the things that we covered in this section are the financial health, financial statements, which the financial statements are statement of net worth, cash flow statement, balance sheet, and budget. We didn't really talk as much about statement of net worth, but it is financial statement. You guys probably don't need to know anything about it just because we really didn't talk about it. If we don't talk about it, it's not something that's really important to you guys at this point in time. If you were to continue on with more financial classes, then you would probably see that the statement of net worth is pretty similar to because the cash flow statement has that on there. Or sorry, the balance sheet has on there.
As net worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I'm like, and we talked about financial ratios, and a lot of you guys struggle with this. If you ever have a question, again, just ask. We're willing to help you guys out. Just ask us if you have any questions about them. All right, so statement of net worth is a snapshot of the individual's financial health at one particular point in time. So the cash flow statement itself, or the balance sheet, those are typically for like 1 year period. So the statement of net worth is like, what's going on today? So at that point in time, you can do it for 6 months, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to do. All right, so the cash flow statement, it provides a record of all cash inflows and outflows. So that's the one that has all your expenses and income listed on it. Your balance sheet summarizes a person's assets and liabilities to show a surplus or deficit, solvency or insolvency, and disposable income. So does anybody know what disposable income is?
It's the money that you can, that's after taxes and everything like that.
Right, so if you have a surplus, that's considered, anything that's a surplus is considered your disposable income. So that's the income that you have left over to do whatever you want to do with it. So whether it be like, okay, well I have, $30,000 left for this year, I'm going to put $10,000 in savings, the other 20 I'm going to allocate to something else, whatever it may be for you. Like whether it's a kid's college fund, maybe $10,000 in there, and maybe the other $10,000 you just decide, let's go on a vacation this year. As long as you can do it, hey, go for it.
Also heard people call it discretionary income.
Yeah, it's discretionary. Yeah, it's just there's just so many different ways that you can, just like I said, if you're solvent or insolvent, you have a surplus or deficit, that just a different way of saying it. Surplus means you're solvent because you have more than enough to pay everything you need to pay. If you have a deficit, you're insolvent. Some of you guys recall, like, our clients were insolvent because they had a deficit of over, can't remember the exact number right now, it's like over $33,000. And budget, you guys did that for us too. I'm sure that was interesting. When I first started teaching this class last semester, I did my budget for 1 month and it was terrible. So that's why I say we're all human, we all make mistakes. But so the budget, that's just used to make sure you're spending less than you're bringing in. So that's the initial step. So if you want to get someone, you have someone in your family needs some help with finances, get them started on a budget first. That's the easiest thing for them to create. To go back and look at your financial statements or whatever you have that you use, whether it's credit cards or bank statements, whatever you got, just go back and look at those and see what you've been spending and what you should be spending each month, because a lot of people have a tendency to spend more than what they make, which is why people think that money is bad. Okay, these are the basic, the 5 ratios that we covered so far. So these are just 2 different ways of looking at it. So this is the more educational, I guess you would call it, the standard right here. This gives you a little more explanation of what's going on. So your monetary, which is your liquid assets, so over there it's like your checking, savings, and your cash. Sorry, couldn't see it. So there's those 3 on the top, and then on the bottom will be your monthly expenses that are required. So that's like, even if you lost your job today, still have to pay your rent, right? You still have to have electricity in the house. So things like that. Like, just think if you lost your job, what are the things that I have to continue paying no matter what? If you lose your job, you don't have to keep paying for your health care, right? Because it's typically most people have it through their employer. So now that you lost your job, it's not coming out of your check, so that's no longer an expense that you have to pay. So whenever you're doing that, just keep that in mind. Anything that you pretty much can't live without, no matter if you're working or not. And the basic liquidity is going to show you whether or not you can support your family for a certain period of time after possible unemployment for yourself or for both spouses, that if, God forbid. But that's what we look at for that one. Okay, your asset to debt ratio is every asset you own. You take that and divide that by every liability you have. So you want to know, like, yes, you have $500,000 in assets, but you have $750,000 in liabilities, so that's not good. So you want to see how much debt you have compared to your assets. That's what you're trying to measure there. Debt service to income ratio. So this is for the next 12 months. What all you have to repay for your debts for the next 12-month period, and then you divide that by your annual income pre-tax. So that just lets you know, how things are going to go for the next 12 months, if you're going to be able to pay everything or not, or if you can more than pay everything.
Are credit cards included in that?
And that one, yeah, this is the cost of repaying all debts.
Everything except
All
mortgage?
No, that would be,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, any debt that you have.
Well, I'm on that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. You're on the next one.
All right.
Yeah, so that one's like anything you have to pay for the next 12 months. Like if everything goes well, you guys keep your jobs, you want to repay all your debts back, right, because you want to have good credit. So that's what you have to put on that.
All debt divided by our income for the year.
Pre-tax income. And so the next one is debt payments to disposable income ratio. So that would be your monthly debt payments except for your mortgage. That's the one you're talking about right there.
Right.
So any your other debts, whether like your cell phone, cable, internet, things like that, anything except for the actual mortgage payment itself.
Anything.
That's your monthly debt, though. So you take, like, if you're doing an annual statement, remember to divide it by 12, so that you can get the annual versus the yearly. And then you're going to divide that by the monthly income after subtracting expenses from the income. Yep. Okay. And that just lets you know how your debts are going to affect your disposable income, which is the stuff that we had left over before. Disposable, yeah. All right, so the last but not least, oh, you can't even see all this. Sorry, guys, can't see it on here. I think it's because of that thing at the top. I just want to do more. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Okay. So this one, let me just get out of here. Okay, I'm going to fix this slide because for some reason it's not all showing up.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'll fix that before I send that out to you guys.
Latest edition.
I don't know, I think so. It's 16 could be.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is our first question for Unit 2. So you have Chris Johnson. His monthly pay stub indicates that his gross income for the month is $3,800. However, $800 is withheld for Social Security and income taxes, and another $600 is contributed to his IRA. How much is his disposable income? Anybody have anything different? He said $2,400.
Yeah, so it's 38 minus 14? 3,800 minus 1,400? Or no?
So that would be 24.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Okay. Is that it, you guys? Okay, so it's actually B, $3,000. And that's because the only thing you actually subtract out is the money that they take away from you. Because if you needed to, you could actually get to that $600. You don't want to, because you're going to have penalties and taxes and fees and all kinds of other stuff. So you don't really want to touch it if you don't have to, but you can. Like worst case scenario, if say your house flooded and that's all you could do at the moment was to get in that IRA and pull out some of those contributions that you made. You can do it. That's why that's included there. So that's just something to keep in mind. So right there, that was the information from the personal finance chapter. Disposable income is the amount of income remaining after taxes and withholding, and estimates funds available for debt repayment. All right, so here's the next question. Matt holds most of his equity mutual funds in his retirement account. If he decides to reinvest all of the dividends back into those equity mutual funds instead of receiving them in cash, this transaction will A, increase his surplus on his cash flow statement, B, increase his net worth on his cash flow, on his statement of net worth and not change on his cash flow statement, C, decrease his net worth on his statement of net worth, or D, make no change on either his cash flow statement or statement of net worth.
B.
B? You guys all agree?
D.
You said D? Did you say B or D?
D.
You said B, you got D? Anybody get D? All right. So it's B.
Just went out the quiz.
So it'll increase his net worth and his statement, on his statement of net worth and not change his cash flow. And that's because, right here, a reinvested dividend is added directly to your mutual fund balance.
Right.
Therefore, your net worth will increase, but no other changes will be made on all your financial statements. So that's why, if we go back, it's not going to increase his cash surplus, right, because it doesn't affect the cash. So that's why number 1 or A is wrong. C is wrong because it's not going to decrease his net worth because he's gaining something, so it can't decrease it. And then D, make no change. We know that's not true because it actually is going to increase because he's getting those dividends back as equity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I have to look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll look
you
at
can
it.
always go back and look over these again. See what time we're. Oh, I gotta hurry up. No, I should have enough time. All right, so here's Ben. Ben is a college student who has the following financial information. He would like your help in figuring his surplus for last year. Okay, so his income from his summer job was $6,000. He received $3,500 from his parents for support. He also received a $1,200 scholarship. His savings account balance is $1,250. Variable expenses of $5,500. Fixed expenses of $4,000, and current liabilities of $1,500. So, what would his surplus be for last year? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
I got this wrong. Trying to get the calculator. So what I did is I added up all his income, everything that he had, and I subtracted all the liabilities.
Right. So you took the top 3?
Right. So his income for the summer, added that to the support from his parents was $9,500. Added in the scholarship.
10.7.
Right. And then his savings account is that. Now that's his balance. That's what he has in his savings, right?
Yes. And then there's his fixed and variable expenses and his liabilities. I'll show you guys that on the next page. So the answer is A. And then there's a sheet that I created for you guys. You do go ahead and add up all the income, like you said. And then you're going to take out his expenses. And your remaining total is actually going to be $1,200. And so the one thing in there to throw you guys off was the savings account.
Okay.
And that's because we're talking about his surplus from last year. So his savings account's not listed on that sheet, right? This is your income and expenses only.
I see.
Yeah.
Now.
So that's the one that's going to throw you guys off. So if you added that in there or subtracted that or did anything with that, that would have made you have the wrong answer.
Where do you put savings account at then?
So savings account would be on a different form.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you, on your balance sheet, that's where you're balancing, so it would be there.
There.
On your cash flow statement, that's where your income and expenses and your discretionary income, or not discretionary income, your think that's what you said earlier. Yeah, your surplus or deficit would be on there.
Okay.
So on your statement of net worth, that's where you would find all your total assets, so split up into the different categories, of course, all your total expenses, and then how much your net worth is for your family or for yourself or whatever the case may be. So just keep in mind when you're looking at questions like this, if it says surplus, you should, hopefully it'll click, surplus.
Right. Cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow statement. Or if it says total liabilities, like, hopefully that'll click. So if you guys need to, maybe just print one out before you start these tests, like a sample one or something. Like there's a sample one on here, so maybe you could do that. That'll help you remember what's on each one. Or you could just write it down, put out a balance sheet, and then put total assets, total liabilities, and your net worth. And you get your net worth by taking your total assets and subtracting your total liabilities. That was a pretty easy one. It's a little bit more difficult whenever you're trying to look at these sheets and determine what goes where, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. And then your cash flow statement, just remember that's your income, whatever you have coming in, and whatever you have going out. That's just you want to see at the end of the year if you're going to be okay or not.
That's what's going to give you a
That's going to give you a surplus or deficit. Yeah, that's a question that we asked you guys on the project, and a lot of you guys skipped it. A lot of people just didn't put whether there was a surplus or deficit or whatever. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe they just skipped it. Guys, whenever you're doing your projects, this is just a personal thing. When you're doing your projects, I promise, I pull the rubric up and I follow it. So if it says completed 5 ratios, now that doesn't mean necessarily completed, so the verbiage might be changed on that one in the future. It's like, do the 5 ratios and get them right. Or if it says do the 5 ratios and you compare them to the benchmark. Like I'm looking for both those things, so it'll be on the side what I'm looking for. So I'm pulling that up and looking at your stuff on the left. So one thing's on the right, one thing's on the left. If it's there, I'm giving you credit for it. If it's not there, I can't give you credit for it. All right, so Unit 3, let me check this out one second. I'm going to check see if anybody online has any questions.
I've been wondering.
Just one second. Just so you guys know, I'm going to record. The recording is also going to be uploaded. Oh gosh, sorry. I do not like this keyboard. This is Cam. Does that work? Sorry about that. Okay. Somehow. Okay, so I uploaded the incorrect thing, and this is upstairs on my computer. So I'll go over this really quickly with you guys, and I know it's not what you wanted, but the other slideshow that I have has all the information, and I apologize for that. This unit is where we wanted you guys to be able to describe different sources of credit, including the difference between conventional credit and convenience credit, and then also identify appropriate types of credit for both short and long-term financial goals. So we have here your credit instruments are credit cards, mortgage loans, student loans, reverse mortgages, and HELOCs. So credit cards, just so you know, they are convenience on the priority. So convenience, if you were in a situation where you lost your job and you couldn't pay but a certain amount of money per month, unfortunately, credit cards would probably be one of the first things to go on your payment plan, just because you food and water is more important than paying back a credit card company. These debts are unsecured, so they can't, they're typically unsecured. I'm sure there's probably some type of situation where they have something secured that I might not know about, but they're unsecured typically, so that means that they can't come after you. They can't, if you bought a stereo, they can't come back and take the stereo from you. Now they can decide if you keep not paying for a certain amount of time, they can decide to take you to court. So if they take you to court, then and they won, then you be liable for the balance of that credit card. And they only have a certain amount of time. Statute of limitations in Texas is 4 years. So after 4 years, if you have a credit card debt, there's nothing that they can legally do to you. They can keep you on a credit report for another 3 years after that.
That's it.
That's it. Mortgage loans, these are obviously conventional, and they are secured. It's your house. Right? So anytime you don't pay your mortgage, they can come back and take your house from you and require you to move out. So student loans they're unsecured, but honestly, if it's a government loan,
right,
you have no choice but to pay it. The government is going to get their money back either way. So say you get out of college and you don't find a great paying job, or you do find a great paying job, but you just forget to pay your loans, or you just like, oh, I'll pay it later, or whatever the case may be, whatever reason you don't pay it. At the end of the year, after a certain period of time, they will take the money out of your income tax return. I know that from first-hand experience from in the past when I was in school. Luckily, I don't have any tuition this time. But yeah, they will get their money back either way. So if you take out a student loan, just know that you'll be responsible for that. There are some private loans, so that those are handled a little bit different. But government loans, so you're like Stafford loans and things to that extent, those are government loans, so they're going to get their money back. Reverse mortgage, you guys know what that is?
Reverse mortgage is like taking a loan out on the equity of your home, and you have to be a certain age. You have to be like 62, I think, or 7, some.
Yeah, you have to be 62 years old, and basically, at this point, you've either paid your house off all the way, or you paid your house off enough that you've built up equity in your home. And then you take a loan against the equity of the home, and it's for basically like at the end of the mortgage, they would end up with your home unless your family decided to pay off the balance and keep your home. So basically, it's just another way that people that have retired or are living on Social Security, so it might be another way that they get income during those years that maybe they didn't plan for. Because right now we have an extended life expectancy due to all the medical advancements and things like that.
Right.
So that's something that's, a lot of people think it's a bad thing. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. I think it depends on the situation,
right,
whether or not it's a good or bad thing.
So let me ask you this real quick: if a person found themselves in trouble and felt like they couldn't pay this loan back, could they sell their home and pay the loan off? Would it be easier to do that since it's just the equity in the loan or equity?
I think that I feel like if that was the case in the first place, they should have just sold the home.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it does. It does.
This is like a lot of times they want to just, maybe they can't depend on their family at the moment, but say they got some life insurance money and they know that their family wants to keep the home, so they can give them the life insurance money. They can pay off the balance whenever they pass away.
That makes sense.
The way I think about it is like, wouldn't that make sense? Like the main thing is like I guess. Like they want to stay in their home, so basically.
Yeah, they want to stay there. Yeah.
So basically, like, I don't know, like I guess when they pass away, can't the family like literally like actually sell the home if it's
right?
They can. Yes, they can. You can. The home can be sold, but then you'll still owe the balance.
Yeah, and then like instead of the house being completely lost,
right?
Sell it and like, at least
sell the home.
I think it depends on,
pay back
honestly,
the
this
loan.
is another thing where it depends on the situation. Like, if you say you have no heirs whatsoever, and you're low on cash, and you just need an extra income source, and you don't care what happens to your house after you pass away because you had no one to leave it to anyways. You never had any kids, and your husband is long past, and all your family members that you like are gone, or, So in that case, a reverse mortgage might make sense for an additional income source. You maybe say you're having some health problems, or maybe you're having just a shortage of money each month. You're maybe living off just Social Security. Some people do that when they retire.
Well, yeah.
I think so. If you're doing that, like you're getting away with like not paying rent, which is nice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, basically. And the next one is the HELOC. Do you guys know what that is?
HELOC? I thought that was home equity loan.
That one's different. That's a home equity line of credit.
Oh, home equity line.
Yeah. So basically, this one comes into play. Okay, so say you own your home, you have a mortgage on it, but you want to make some repairs to the house, or you want to spend money on something dumb. You want to go out and buy a boat or something like that. So then you take a line of credit out on your house, and that payment would just be like another payment in addition to what you're already paying. So sometimes it's easier to get a line of credit on your house for a lower interest rate than you can get, say, a personal loan. So say you want to remodel your kitchen for $20,000. More than likely, a home equity line of credit will give you a lower interest rate than a $20,000 personal loan rate would. So that would be something to look into at that point in time.
That's conventional?
That is.
It feels like convenience, but but conventional.
Yeah. Your conventional is anything that, I guess the way I'll put it is anything that's providing you with value.
Okay.
So you have to have a house, right? And in Texas, you have to have a car.
Right. House, car.
Yeah, so you have to have those things. Like, even though a car is a depreciating asset, you still have to have it in most cases. So the convenience are like credit cards, payday loans, things like that people could easily get themselves into debt with and cause a lot of problems with their financial, situation, with their credit score and things like that, and it can take tons of years for them to get out of it.
Okay.
Like payday loans are something you guys want to avoid if at all possible. They have ridiculous interest rates. Like, we're talking in like the hundreds of percents of interest rates. And most of those are, from my understanding, you go in and you get a loan, like a payday loan from them. Like, you show them your check stub that you're getting paid, you get a loan from them, and you like write them out a check from your account, and you put void on it or something. I think you put void on it, and then you hand it to them, and then they'll come back and take that money out on a certain date.
Right.
Like, that's your way of saying, I authorize you to, in your signing paperwork, of course, I'm sure, but you're authorizing them to take that money out in the future. So then what people do is, tomorrow the money's coming out, but I don't have the money. So they go back and get another payday loan to pay off the first one. So it becomes like a vicious cycle where they're just going further and further into debt and paying these crazy interest rates. And if you guys look around, they're in the neighborhoods that are not the most wealthy. You go anywhere, like, I don't really know where you guys are from. I'm from the Dallas area, so if you go to South Lake, go to Westlake, you're not going to see payday loans or car title loans. Car title loans are, I don't know if you guys know what those are, but they have crazy interest rates as well. Yeah, and they actually hand them your car title loan. So it's required, it's paid for. You hand them the title, and at the end of the day, if you don't pay it, they'll come back and take your car.
So, so that's my next question then. If your car, or if anything is bonded with this loan, doesn't that turn it into a conventional loan?
If anything is bonded?
Like if it's like...
you mean if it's secured?
Secured by it, right.
I would still consider that a convenience loan. Personally, I don't know I had to look at the book to see what it says. I would just still consider that a convenience loan because anybody that has a paid off car can walk in and get that.
Yeah.
Convenience is, you don't have to have great credit, right?
Right.
You don't have to have great credit to get a credit card. You don't have to have great credit to get, I mean, even a car, I guess, technically you don't have to have great credit, but you're going to have a ridiculous interest rate.
Right.
I guess it could be considered. I can look it up and let you know for sure.
Okay.
Student loans conventional or convenient?
Conventional.
Conventional, yeah.
Yeah. Depending on
government, like I said, on that one there's no way that you're getting around it. You're paying them back. So they're going to take the money whether you want to. And then debt repayment, that's kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. So if you get in trouble, you pay your highest priorities first, and the PowerPoint that I'm going to send you guys has all that. So it's like high priority, medium priority, low priority. So there's a slide for each and it kind of gives you a little explanation. Obviously, it's not a all-inclusive list, but kind of gives you an idea of if you're looking at another thing that's similar to that, that's like this, so that would be low priority, that's like this, that would be medium priority. So your highest priority are going to be the things that you can't live without. obviously. And as far as debts themselves, your mortgage, and maybe your car payment. Some people might not be high. It may be medium. Kind of have to look at the family situation because, say you guys have 3 cars and there's only 2 people.
Right.
So one of those loans probably would be a medium priority.
Right.
The other 2 might be high because you guys both drive back and forth to work, or maybe one person's not working and you guys have 2 cars. So that would probably be a medium at that point in time for that one car. The car for the person that does drive back and forth to work every day, that'd be high. So those is kind of like kind of have to judge the situation on your own.
That makes sense.
And then, so your medical bills, I believe medical bills will fall in the medium, and your credit cards will fall in the low. Like I said, they're not secured. They can't come and take anything from you. Eventually, if it gets so bad, they can, like I said, take you to court and possibly win against you, and then you'd be required to pay at that point in time. But
payday loans, would we consider that high?
A payday loan would be considered, personally, I consider like maybe a medium or a low.
Yeah.
But just because you can, no, I didn't say this, but you can close the account, and what are they going to do? They can't get their money back.
Right. So they can't really.
So it's almost like a credit card, but
yeah.
They technically have that check right there.
Yeah.
But like if that person was to go ahead and close out their account, what could the place do? They have you're authorized to withdraw on this account, but there's no longer an account that's open for that number.
So just close the account.
Don't do that.
Right.
I didn't say that. I said somebody could do that. Somebody could do that. All right. And last but not least here is the ECOA, which is the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. And so, do you guys remember what that is?
Does it prevent discrimination?
To rights and rights.
So it prevents the credit companies from discriminating against you based on your race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, things to that extent, things that they shouldn't be looking at anyways. They should be looking at your credit score, which is on a range. That's on the other slide also. So you're on a range of, I believe, 300 to 850. Obviously, 300 is the low end, 850 is the high end. And depending on how each little sector falls, so like the first portion, you're a high credit risk. Like most people probably wouldn't give you credit. You can walk in and get a payday loan though. And the next one is you have like pretty good credit, but you're not quite there yet. So they might consider you. And then the top is obviously the good credit. That's where you walk in, you see these things like Toyota, 1.99% interest rate or 0% interest rate. You can walk in and be like, I want that car. Okay, cool, your credit's great. You get 0% interest rate. So that's the last section, the highest, closest to the 850. Typically, I think that starts around, I want to say 750. Maybe I'm wrong at the moment, but I can't remember the slide in my head. But that's going to be closer to the higher end of the numbers. Especially to walk in and get the 0% interest rate, you're probably going to be in the 800s to get the lower interest rates. So that's why, this is one reason that credit is important. A lot of people don't, like when we're young, you go to school, start getting credit, card offers in the mail and stuff like that. You might open up credit cards and start using them and not realize like what you're doing. You don't realize the situation you're putting yourself into if you can't pay the bills each month. That's one of the reasons why it's important to try to maintain your credit, and so you can walk in and say, I want to buy this car, and then like, oh cool, how does a no interest rate sound? So you guys have any questions before we get out of here? I'm 3 minutes after, 3 minutes over.
That's it?
I'll submit these slides and I'll submit that for you, so you guys can go over it.
Now, I know there are only 50 questions, but I know Unit 3 has a lot more. Do you think?
It's typically broken up by, it's kind of, I'm trying to explain how it's broken up. It's broken up like really kind of crazy, so it kind of makes it to where it's even.
Okay.
So like you might think that Unit 3 will have more, but
right.
Typically I don't think that it will. I can go back and double check the way it's broken down, but I know it's broken up into like more like a topic type.
Okay.
Like how I kind of have the topics for each section.
Right.
So one topic section there might be 1 or 2 questions, so there might be another topic type that maybe 3 or 4. I think that's how it's broken up, but I can double check that too.
Cool.
And that's 50 questions, and that opens up on the 6th and closes on the 6th. So you guys have from midnight on the 6th until 11:59 p.m. on the 6th. That means 11:59 p.m. you have to start an hour and a half early. So don't forget that. Like you guys have to be ready to sit there for 90 minutes and look at this exam. But just remember to go back and look over your notes. If you took notes while you were doing this, or look over the slideshow, look over the resources that you guys had, or maybe just give them the chapters and mark some areas that you had difficulty with, or maybe just mark something because, like, obviously the table of contents is not all-inclusive. So maybe just have some areas that you think will be helpful for the exam. Is that it? Any more questions? Did everybody sign in? You guys all signed in?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you guys for showing up, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and good luck on your exam. What's your name? Denard. Okay. Anytime you send an email, make sure you send it through Blackboard. So when you send it through Blackboard, her and I, we both get it.
Yeah, I didn't like, because I felt like if I was on Blackboard, it was like sent to all or whatever. So I thought like it was gonna go to the students, whatever. Like I thought like.
I think it just comes. I think when you guys log in, ours is different because I can send it just to like say just to you.
Yeah.
Or I can send it to the whole.
It was gonna be like the same thing. Like you can do like on Blackboard, like yeah, it's gonna go.
Right. So whenever you do it, just send it. Is that the only option you guys have? Is that you only have one option to put?
No, like that's what I thought. Sorry. I went back and I looked at it. But it's different. It is like on the Blackboard thing, like everybody can see that there is no instructor.
Okay, so only for instructors. So do that. The only thing, and that means that I'll see it and Jennifer will see it also.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like maybe I'm out of office or she's out of office, so she might reply to you before I reply to you. But typically we have a 24-hour response time. So we should get back with you within 24 hours. There are some times when maybe your question's too difficult or something like that, but even in that case, we still try to let you know, like, hey, trying to find out more information about what you need right now.
Because the first case study.
The what now?
The
Sorry.
first assignment for the case study.
The first case study. Mm-hmm.
I got nothing. Like there was nothing on the Blackboard. Like I put every place I had to click, but everything was blank. That's what I said.
Okay, I think I remember you put a note, right?
Yeah.
When you submitted.
Yeah, I just should explain everything.
Okay, so
there was nothing, but I ended up realizing later, like my computer, I didn't set my computer to allow like the pop-ups.
The pop-ups, okay.
Yeah.
So in the future, whenever that happens, like always go through like all three: Microsoft Explorer, Chrome.
I had to check what the problem was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay, and then try to get with us. If it's something like that, try to get with us as early as possible. Because say you send it on like a Friday. I don't think we have a 24-hour response on the weekend. So maybe you send it on a Friday, like we're planning to get back to you till Monday. More than likely, if I'm in the office or something's going on, like I'll reply back to you. But I don't believe that we had that policy. I can double check that one for you. But yeah, so just make sure you try to.
So I don't know what I can do because I didn't do nothing.
Okay, so the good news is that we offer extra credit throughout the semester. So just do all your other assignments and follow that rubric like I said, so you'll get some good grades so that, because I'm the one grading your assignments. So always follow that rubric and do everything it says to do on there, even if it sounds crazy.
Yeah, because that was like 40 points missed. I'm like.
Yeah, that was a 40-point. We offer, I don't know how it is this semester. This is my first time in the summertime. I just started in the spring, so in the spring I teach the class, but and so does Jennifer. So there's like 2 different online sections. There's also an in-person section, but in the spring we offered 100 points worth of extra credit. So anytime we offer extra credit, just make sure. Do you have any extra credit on your account, or do you know?
Yeah, I've been doing everything, but this one I did. I was leaving. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, I mean, like if anytime she says
weekend or whatever.
There was one for Unit 1, one for Unit 2, one for Unit 3, and I think there was
Because I've been doing everything, but I've been getting around like.
Yeah, I just updated you guys extra credit.
Just the one
This weekend?
Yeah,
I just
I
I don't think it's in your overall total points. I think it's added in at the end of the semester.
But I'm gonna
see my class wasn't set up like that, so I didn't I didn't.
I'm gonna recheck it because I'm not really sure, but I just saw. Or maybe it's not updated.
It's not updated on yours?
Or maybe it's updated, but it's 0. That's what I saw. I saw 0.
Yeah, because I go through like,
Out of 40 or 30?
No, like
For
for the extra credit.
yeah, the extra credit is up to date. Like, I'm pretty sure like I went through everybody's stuff, so everything you have should be there. If you have something that you think you turned in and I didn't get it for some reason, let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it.
Okay.
I don't want to be that, but technically I am.
Right.
Yeah, technically I'll be checking, but
Okay. Yeah, so that's, but it should be up to date, honestly. I did go through, I spent time going through everything and putting everything in there for you guys so you know how much your extra credit is, because at the end, that extra credit will be added to your score.
I'm gonna find out because I don't.
I know a lot of
I
people
don't
freak
know.
out for our class because
Figure
you're,
out all those things.
yeah, our class people freak out because you're adding points to your score as you go along. So you kind of would start out, you're failing the class, right? But everybody's failing the class, so don't feel crazy about that. Like, it's normal. But as you go and complete your assignment, then your grade will increase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was just wondering if you're gonna be available tomorrow.
Oh, what's tomorrow? Thursday. Yeah, I'll be here. I have my office hours anyways from 2:30 to 4.
So I work at 2. And so the last time I caught you, I actually bring some guys over here for the celebration. And so I'll
Okay.
be here around the same time.
I should. What's tomorrow? Let's see. Yeah, actually, I'll be here late tomorrow night because you guys have what assignment? You guys are trying Unit 3? Unit 3 project? Unit 3 project. I have to have it graded by midnight tomorrow,
Okay.
and I'm not feeling well today, so I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
It's probably tomorrow, all day. And I had the Unit 3 project and the Unit 3 extra credit you guys turn into, so I have to get both those graded tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Then I know I missed some points. I like to get a calculation.
I mean, honestly, I don't.
Project.
Most scores, other than like the first unit or maybe first 0 and 1, maybe. Other than that, most people haven't gotten like perfect scores on.
Yeah,
Like you missed something like,
I know the ratios were wrong. I don't know if you counted that on
oh, the case study.
case study.
I did. There was there was 5 points for the different numbers that you have in your, what's it called? Statements, sorry, in your cash flow and
Yeah.
balance sheet.
I checked that, double checked the ones, because you guys put one up, right? You put a budget up, which put the numbers up. And so.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
whenever
goes
you
wrong.
do that, if you do that wrong, then you're gonna get the ratios wrong as well.
Right.
So there was 5 points each, so there was 10 points total. Most people didn't miss all of the points. Most people got like at least 2 or 3 each.
Okay.
So it wasn't a huge
Yeah.
loss there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to come by tomorrow. I just need to get like what we just talked about. You went over, so I won't have a whole lot to go.
Okay.
But I couldn't find anything about conventional in our book or in the readings. So convenience
Okay.
credit. And I wasn't-
Convenience is just like the stuff that, like I said, like anybody can get it, and
Right.
you don't really need it.
Right. So credit cards and stuff like that.
Credit cards and
I-
things like that.
Yeah, and I thought so, but I just needed, but I couldn't find it like in the glossary.
Yeah, like I think, is this the section? Unit 3 was the one you guys had to do that table, right? The debt prioritization table.
Was that 3? Yeah.
Yeah. So on that one, there's only a certain number of points that I can allocate. So what I typically do is like, if you got more than a certain number wrong in the section, then I'll take off for it. But if not, then
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Get better.